Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy!
That's me, Tiberius!
Welcome to the Tiberius Show today, and I'm your host, Tiberius Boy! And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Today's case is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk to a parking lot litter collector, and that's just people how to make extra side money. Well, do you have any idea what a litter collector does? Well, I think I do, but hey, let's find out. Let me introduce our next guest, the one, the only, the amazing Brian Winch.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I look forward to talking to you.
No problem. And thank you for being on the show.
I'm great. I'm pleasant. I'm happy to be here.
So, you list as a parking lot litter collector. For my listeners that have no idea, what does that mean? Can you explain it?
Well, I clean litter that people discard in parking lots, like fast food candy wrappers, empty drink cups, cans, bottles, cigarette butts. And I do that for property management companies. I wouldn't really call it a collector per se. I'm not collecting that material and saving it. Rather, I'm cleaning it up and disposing of it. So I guess the proper term would be a litter picker.
Okay. So, do you just go to the parking lot and clean up the litter?
Yeah, I've got contracts with property management companies. I've been in the business since 1981, and the work, actually, I enjoy it. It's almost as easy to do as going for a walk. And I'm contracted to clean the parking lots and the exterior property outside commercial properties. So that could be like, strip plazas or, small shopping plazas, office, industrial areas, and even small office buildings.
Okay. So, how did you get started in the field of litter? Do you just clean up a parking lot and someone decided to pay you for it?
Well, actually, my dad was a janitor, and he did a number of side hustles back in the day. He cut grass in the summer, cleared snow in the winter months, and he also cleaned up litter outside a nearby shopping plaza.
Cool.
And he had taken me along with him a couple times when I was maybe 12 or 13. And I remember how easy it was to do. And, long story or short, when I was about 21 in 1981, I was looking for a side hustle myself. And I had that memory of helping my dad. And I decided, let's see if there's a full-time business in this, or at least something I could do as a side hustle and maybe turn it into a full-time business.
Cool. So, kind of tell me, how does it work? Like, do you have a lot of tools?
The great thing about this business is you can use simple hand tools to do the work. You don't need any gas-powered equipment, and you simply walk the exterior property, and with these hand tools, collect or clean up the litter material into the tools. And when they're full, just empty the contents into a waste dumpster on site. So it takes almost just a little bit more time than it takes to walk the property to clean them. So depending on the size of the properties, that could be 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour if it's a larger property.
Cool. So what's the best part about being a parking lot litter picker?
Well, it's easy work. There's no bending over, picking up any material. I'm not, touching any of this stuff. There's always plenty of litter to clean up. People, for whatever reason, like to discard their trash in parking lots. So there's always demand for it, and so somebody's got to do it. And the saying goes, fortunes can be made by those willing to clean up after others.
That's true. Well, now here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
And we are back here talking with Brian Winch. Brian walks around parking lots and removes the litter. So Brian, this seems like a really easy job. Can you make a lot of money doing it?
Certainly. I scaled my side hustle from a six-figure business, $100,000 a year, into one where we routinely bill out upwards of $700,000 a year, just cleaning up litter from parking lots. So there's a lot of money to be made, and it's recession-proof, it's pandemic-proof. People litter; they always have, always will. So if you're willing to do the work, you can make really good money doing it.
Wow. Now, my dad and I are both allergic to manual labor, so we get like hot sweats and tired. But this seems like just walking. Like, can anyone do this?
Anyone can do it, male, female. There's some people that are semi-retired that are looking to make some extra money on the side that do it. It's early morning work, just before business is open for the day. And so, yeah, it's like I get paid to go for early morning walks to get some exercise.
Okay. So when you fill up your bag with garbage, do you have to take it home? Like, where do you put it all?
Well, that's a good question. Every commercial property that we service has at least one waste dumpster on site where we can empty the contents from our tools, the material that we clean up from each job site. So there's no transporting litter off site to anywhere else. It's all disposed on site.
Cool. So if you are an expert, how long have you been doing this work?
Well, I started the first time I did it. I helped my dad out when I was 12 or 13. I'm now 63, so you do the math. I've been doing it my whole life.
50 years.
When I first got into it, I thought maybe I'll do it for 3 or 4 or 5 years and try some other business. But after that period of time, I enjoyed myself so much doing it. I get the satisfaction of seeing the results from my work and making my community a cleaner, safer place to live, work, and play. And so I've done it ever since.
Cool. So did you ever hire employees to pick up trash for you so that you did not have to do it anymore?
Yeah, well, I scaled back the number of hours. I still enjoy getting out there a few hours every day, but several years ago, and the reason we were able to scale the business to one that does upwards of $700,000 a year was recruiting an army of people that go all over the city and do a lot of the litter cleaning up for us.
Cool. So why has this project been much of a passion for you?
Well, it was something my dad did. And he passed away, unfortunately, just prior to me starting the business in 1981. So I was, really determined to see it succeed. And, after a few years, I enjoy doing it, and I made it my lifelong work. And I'm sharing or teaching other people across the country how to do the same.
Cool. So you decided to teach other people how to do this job. Like, are you afraid of competition?
No, there's lots of commercial properties out there. There's lots of litter to clean up. And I have nothing to lose by teaching other people in other cities, how to do this work. My business is operated strictly locally. I haven't franchised it. It's too simple a business, I think, to do that. So I teach other people how to do it in my book or operations manual, which is called Clean Lots, America's Simplest Business.
Okay. So, how easy is this job to learn? Like, do you have to go to college or something?
Definitely not. I didn't go to college myself. I barely graduated high school, so I wasn't the best student. So, one of the reasons I got into this business is because of the simplicity. A person can learn very quickly, how to do the work and how to start the business and how to operate it. And I also offer free support. Anyone who buys my book as a way of giving back to a business that's done very well for me, but also to honor the memory of my dad.
Okay. So how do you make sure your clients know that you cleaned up their place? Like, do you have to take pictures or something?
No, people can easily tell whether or not someone has shown up to clean the property. There, for one thing, there's CCTV cameras, a lot of new properties. A building operator who is employed by the property management company is tasked with visiting as many of their properties during the day, each day. So they can certainly tell if somebody has shown up or not to clean the property. So, we make a point to have all the buildings cleaned by the beginning of the business day. So, everyone sees a clean property.
Okay. So how old do you have to be to do this job? I mean, can a kid that wants to run a business do this job?
Well, as long as he has adult supervision, like, I was 12 or 13 when I accompanied my dad. But, if you're going to work alone, probably best if you're 16, as long as you can drive a vehicle to get you from job site to job site, you should be all right.
Okay. So where do you buy the tools to do the litter pickup?
Well, the only tools you need are the simple hand tools, like a broom, and then the litter collection tool, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and then some trash liners. I mean, we are responsible for changing out the trash liners, in any of the litter containers that are full. So we just pull the full bag out and replace it with a fresh liner, and so that's all you really need to get started.
Okay. So do you ever get dirty? Like, what if there's like a spilled drink or something? Do you have to clean the liquid?
No, actually, anything that's spilled on the ground will either dry or evaporate. It just material that's loose, like cigarette butts, fast food
Yeah.
wrappers, empty drink cups, cans, things of that type.
Okay. So what's the hardest part about doing this type of work?
Well, it's really simple, but I guess the hardest part would be the occasional times where you're having to work outside in inclement weather. Maybe it's raining hard, or it's snowing, so you just simply dress accordingly, and then there's no problems. But sometimes the weather is nicer to be working outside.
That is true. So what's the craziest thing that's happened while you were doing your passion?
Well, it's amazing some of the things that people discard in parking lots or even accidentally. I find money, I find wallets, various types of valuables, and we always do our best to return them to the owners. But when you find money, the most I've ever found was about $600, all rolled up tightly in a rubber band. And I suspect maybe one of the shop owners, was closing up for the night and went to toss the trash out into a waste dumpster and pulled the keys out of his pocket, and out from his pocket came this roll of bills, and it probably was sitting underneath this waste bin for several months until I found it sometime in the spring, and it was all dirty and muddy and half frozen. I took it home, let it dry out, and that's when I counted off just about $600 in bills.
Jeez. So if you had to pick a different job or vocation, what would you do?
I enjoy working by myself alone. I'm an introvert, if you know what that means. So, I thought, what, if I drove, a truck, like a water hauling truck, or something like that, I get my job done, and when I'm done, I get to go home, and I just like working by myself.
Okay. So what's the most misunderstood part about your job?
That we don't make a lot of money, that we're doing this out of community service, that maybe I'm a vagrant, walking around looking for money. And so I don't mind that, because the more people that think that, the less competition I have.
So, How does doing this work make the world a better place?
Well, it certainly makes it cleaner. People enjoy, you know, visiting or shopping at properties that are clean. That's the first impression anybody gets when they pull into a commercial property is, how clean it is. Is it littered, or is it clean? And so that's what we try to do, is we give our customers clean properties.
Okay. Now, you built a website teaching people how to do this work. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. I created my website, cleanlots.com, which basically sells my book and related business building products. And all sorts of information is on there, including a video that shows me actually doing the work, so people can see that and see for themselves what type of how difficult this work is and what I do. And there's a free download report. If you're considering this opportunity, you can download it and investigate the opportunity more. But there's all sorts of testimonials, the various podcasts, the media that has covered my story. So everything is there to provide the information that someone needs to make an informative decision.
Mm-hmm. So, you have taught people all over the place how to pick up litter. Very cool of you. Do they ever call and thank you?
Yeah. A lot of people have reached out to me for support, and then eventually after a while they don't need it anymore. And I often wonder, well, what happened? Are they still running the business? And then, it might be a year or two later, and they tell me, how well they're doing. My most successful student to date was a school teacher in Illinois, and he turned it from a side hustle into a full-time business, where he operates now in, I think, pretty much all 50 states. And he's doing phenomenally well.
Wow. So, what is the story of that one student that you will never forget?
The ones, well, how well he's doing. I mean, when he told me that, he's first of all, he told me he was in 30 states, and then, over the last 2 years, he's added a few more states every few months, and I'm just blown away by his success.
Yeah. So, who can you say was the person that helped drive your passion the most?
Probably my dad. He was an immigrant to this country, and he could speak English better than he could write it. So he had to do a lot of jobs to support the family, outside of his full-time job as a janitor. And I never heard him complain. He just did what he had to do to pay the bills.
Okay, so what advice would you give to my listeners if they wanted to grow up and become a parking lot litter picker?
Well, do it for the right reasons. I mean, don't just think, well, I can make a lot of money. You have to see the merit of the service that you're providing, and enjoy, going for walks if you like a little bit of exercise. And then you'll be successful. But that applies to anything you do in life. Don't just chase the money. See if you can turn a hobby into a business, or monetize something that you enjoy doing.
Okay, so what is the best advice that you've ever received, and who gave you that advice?
Well, my grandfather, I remember as a kid, he had an expression. He said that, Brian, there's no such word as can't. And that stuck with me. And so, if you're in business, you start a business, especially if you don't have much education to begin with, you have to be persistent, passionate, and patient, and and don't give up. There'll be many roadblocks, but you just need to find a way around them. And there's always the solution around the corner.
But what was the very first job that you've ever had?
The first job I ever had, well, other than helping my dad out, I was a teenager, about 16, and I was working at a sporting goods company. And I enjoyed, because I was into sports at the time, I thought that was a fun job.
Okay, well, was there anything you learned from that job that how to be better litter picker?
Well, not a litter picker, but it taught me how to deal with the public. And, I was basically a salesperson. And so, yeah, I mean, you can always take some learning experiences from anything you do in life.
Okay, so what message do you want to tell children all over the world about doing the work that you do?
Well, I would encourage everyone, if you've got litter, don't do take the easy way out and just toss it onto a parking lot. Find that litter container or carry a bag in your car to put some litter in, as opposed to just making a mess for other people to clean up. But that's what has put money in my pocket. But still, I'm surprised how easy some people find it is just to litter.
Yeah, well, on that note, let's take a quick break to pay some bills. And we are back with litter picker and trainer Brian Winch. So, Brian, I have been talking with you about cleaning litter as a job. This is not a very fancy or glamorous job. So why do you enjoy it?
Because it's simple. It's very simple to do, and there's always a demand for a service such as mine. So why not?
That's true. Well, do you think AI will take over this kind of work?
No, not the manual labor. I can see AI helping people market the business, but the actual service is best performed on foot. That way, I can clean the entire exterior property, the sidewalks, parking lot, surrounding landscape. So that's the way it's always been done, and that's the most efficient way to provide the service.
Okay. Well, if someone listening today is motivated and is willing to put in the work, how can they get started?
Well, I suggest you might want to consider starting with my book, Clean Lots: America's Simplest Business, and my 40 plus years of experience is in that book, and I offer free support as well. So you really can't go wrong as long as you're persistent, patient, and passionate for what you do.
Okay. So how much does it cost to get your book to learn all about this job?
Well, the ebook or instruction manual, which includes my free support, is $79.95. I've got a hard copy book version for $89.95, and
Wow.
various other business tools or marketing tools that assist you in building the business.
Nice.
And they can all be found on my website. And as well, the books are available on all the online bookstores, including Amazon.
Got it. Now, to be fair, you said that this is a simplest business, but how does the book explain the details of, like, how to get customers or deal with problems that might happen?
Well, I tackle those, one at a time. How to get customers is pretty simple. And I tell people how to start by grabbing the low hanging fruit first. There's a lot of things you can do that don't cost you anything, and they're free. Like when you get started, even before you develop a website, you should get a Google business profile. And that doesn't cost anything, but it acts like a mini website. And then as soon as you're on, that search engine, and you can do the same thing with the other search engines and get listed in various online directories and set up a LinkedIn profile and a company page. And, that's where your prospects, your clients, property management companies are. They're going to have profiles on LinkedIn. And then, you begin, prospecting. And the simple way to do that, to find a list of prospects, is to compile one of your own by doing a search online for, property management companies.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see all sorts of results coming up, and those are the companies that you are going to contact.
Okay. So would your book be good for someone that may want to learn more about running any kind of business and make it simple?
Exactly. You can apply the principles that I teach in my book to most any business, that you want to start. And I think the key to the tips in my business are ones that I used when I started. I mean, I started way back before the internet, but my book has been revised several times, and so I teach people, how to get started cheaply in marketing, and like I said before, grab the low hanging fruit, which is often free, before you start spending money on things that you can actually wait a bit until you get some paying customers.
Okay. So if you could go back 10 years and tell yourself something, what would it be?
Ah, that's a good question. 10 years, I don't know if I'd really change anything. You got me stumped with that question.
Wow. So what's the biggest mistake you ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
Well, the biggest mistake in business I made was 20 some years ago, where a client of ours convinced us to add some other services to our business. And we reluctantly went and did that because we thought we were afraid of losing his business. And so we added a little bit of landscape work and some snow removal. And we hated the work. After 4 years, we just decided, we didn't need to do that, even at the risk of losing our client. And it turns out that we had nothing to worry about. He said, no, you guys can continue specializing in the litter pick, for our properties, and we'll get somebody else to do this other work. We just simply thought that you might want to make more money by doing these other services for us. So never be afraid to say no. Stick to your principles. And in our case, we learned it's best to be seen as the experts or the specialists in our field than try to be a jack of all trades and wind up being a master of none.
Mm-hmm. So, when you're not working, what do you do for fun?
Well, I enjoy cooking. I actually go for a lot of walks and hikes, even outside of my work. We like to travel. And I like to spend a lot of time outdoors.
Mm-hmm. So, do you play video games? And if you do, what's your favorite one?
Unfortunately, I don't really like to sit still, so I don't play video games.
Not even on your phone?
Not even on my phone. But my wife, she likes to play solitaire
Ah, that's a
on her
classic.
phone. Yeah, yeah. So she does that a lot. But I just somebody doesn't like to sit still too much, so I got to keep moving.
Okay. So, what's your favorite book to read that you have not written?
You know what? I read a lot of sports magazines. I read a lot of newspapers and trade journals to try to stay on top of what's happening in the property management business and industry, both nationally and locally. So I do a lot of reading of those types of publications.
Okay. Okay. Now, can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid show. The one story,
Yeah.
well, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
Well, yeah, this is a kid show. Well, you meet all sorts of interesting people. You might say. Actually, I got a story for you. One of the first buildings that I do, it's probably there's a guy that owned a pizza place, and he also has a catering truck. And we would talk briefly. He'd come out and take a break, and we talk for 5 minutes, and just shoot the breeze. And after a while, when he got to know me fairly well, he didn't ask me, how much money I'm making. And he just assumed that, I wasn't making much money. So periodically, he would give me free pizzas and free lasagnas because, the clothing I wear, it's work clothing, and it get kind of dirty. So, and so he was there for a couple of years. So, I enjoyed his company and the conversations we had, and then I also enjoyed the free pizzas and lasagnas.
Good. So, is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you?
Well, I believe that I've been successful in business because I'm passionate, patient, and persistent. And I think anyone that is looking to do anything in life, whether it be working a job or starting a business, as long as you bring those principles, to the game, I think you'll be successful whatever you try.
Now, we know your website is cleanlots.com. That's right, folks, cleanlots.com. But do you have a Facebook for people that want to follow you?
Yeah, facebook.com/cleanlots. And then I've got a LinkedIn profile as well, linkedin.com/company/cleanlots.
Got it. So, what is the one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
I think you did a good job asking me all those questions.
Thank you.
I don't think you left anything out.
Sweet. Well, thank you, Brian, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
I certainly can.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
Well, thank you, Brian, for helping me with Math Corners. This week, we're going to do some more multi-step word problems. My dad is always good at finding new problems for me to solve. Today, we're going to talk about buying cookies. So,
Okay.
Barbara stopped at Little Town Market to buy 45 cookies for a gaming club. Little Town Market sells 9 cookies for $5. On her way home, Barbara passed by another store, College Town Bakery. College Town Bakery sells 5 cookies for $3. Did Barbara save money by purchasing at Little Town Market? And if so, how much?
I guess you need to multiply the cost of the cookies.
I got you,
into
don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, first is a real problem because we do know that gamers love cookies and always want a deal. So let's dive right in. So to solve this issue, you have to add up the cost of the 45 cookies from each store. So Little Town has 9 cookies for $5. So for 45 of them, you have to take 5 and times it by 5, and you get $25 for 45 cookies. At College Town, there are 5 cookies for $3. Then you take the 3 and times it by 9, you get $27 for the 45 cookies. This way, we know that she got a better deal. But by how much? So, well, he has to subtract the 27 by the 25, and you get $2 saved. And, well, that might cover the gas to get there, too.
Yeah, certainly.
So, Brian, do you ever go buy 45 cookies all at once?
Never. Believe it or not, I don't have a sweet tooth. If I bought 45 cookies, they'd go stale before I had a chance to eat them.
Well, my teacher said that I would use math every day. Do you use math in your work?
Certainly. I use math, to calculate our pricing, to determine, what we should charge for our service. And also, if we start a contract, sometime in the middle of the month, when we bill our customer at the end of the month, we have to present them a price that's been prorated, for that service for that month. So, there's definitely math skills that you need to use in everyday life and even in my business.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for your help with Math Corners.
No problem. You're welcome.
And now it's time for the Heart of a Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the Heart of a Lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about integrity. For me, I think integrity is doing what is right even when no one else is looking. The qualities of integrity is honesty, sincerity, truthfulness, and fairness. So this week, I saw integrity with Jorge that works for my friend Bob. Bob had to leave early to shoot a TV show, and Jorge was stuck worrying by himself for 2 hours. He does not have to clock in or out, so he could just go home and no one would know that he did not stay. But instead, he stayed and got some extra work done because no one was there to bother him. Since this was sincerity and fairness, he actually got more work done because he was left alone. Very cool. So, Brian, did you see or use integrity at all this week?
Yeah, last weekend we had a community garage sale, and I saw an elderly gentleman walking down the street. He just came from one house where he picked up a small item, or he bought a small item, and when he was pulling his car keys out of his pocket, some loose bills came out and fell onto the street.
Wow.
Before I could say anything, there was another fellow that was close to him and pointed out that he dropped some money onto the road. So yeah, I think everyone should do that.
Everyone should do that, yeah.
You feel good about that. It's not an opportunity for easy cash. So good for him.
Well, of all the heart of a lion virtues, which is the one that you see the most?
Well, honesty. I think honesty is that's the way we operate our business. You brought up a good point earlier. How do people know that we've been to a job site? And a lot of it is dependability and honesty. So we show up, and some days we're at some of our buildings longer. It takes a bit longer to clean some buildings some days than others. So we have to make sure that we're giving our customer the best service possible, and that means putting in extra time if need be.
Mm-hmm. Well, we should always try and be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
That's right.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Brian Winch for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we learned a lot about litter cleanup and how it can be an amazing, easy business to get into.
Thank you. I had a great time, Tiberius.
No problem. Do you mind giving your social media and website again?
Yeah, the website is cleanlots.com, and facebook.com/cleanlots, or linkedin.com/company/cleanlots.
And don't forget, that is cleanlots.com. Also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show. And I would like to thank WWPR 1490 AM, KINT 98, Soul Radio 24/7, Easy Way TV, and all the other stations that air on my show. Please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Brian, have you subscribed yet?
I'm about to do that.
Oh, and be sure to leave a comment and tell me what job you're interested in me interviewing someone about. Also, be sure to listen to this next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy!